the Virtual Ball Boys podcast season 4. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend, Matt.
Dos, tres, cuatro. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We are the Virtual Ball Boys. We are in your ears. So hear me making noise. Ah! You finally got your wish. We are back with picks and the Cleveland Starfish. BBB with Chris and Matt.
Yes! We got the starfish mention, the first starfish mention of season 4.
Yeah,
I
baby.
Love it. Welcome, everybody, to yet another season. We've been doing this for, I think, 7 seasons now, which is kind of wild.
Jeez, hasn't been that long.
I'm pretty sure, but this is our 4th season of Virtual Ball Boys. It might be 6 seasons. I might be oversaying it, but regardless, it has been quite over a half a decade now since we've started really following football hardcore and also making a podcast about it. Matt, how have you been? Let's just start there. How is things going for you?
I've been good, you know. A lot of things going nice. My dog is good. My hobbies are bountiful. Work is good. Gonna be busy at some point, but it's not super busy right now.
Yeah, fair. Totally fair. Yeah, things are pretty much like run of the mill as they've been for me, you know. Just not really much happening in my life, but you know, I'm trying to keep positive, keep doing things that I love, hanging out with you, Matt, hanging out with all of our friends, and you know, just you know, keeping things light. And you know what? It's September. My birthday is in 5 days, and most importantly, football is back.
Birthday. Football Sunday.
It really it is my birthday is on Football Sunday this year. It works. It's worked out. Like, since I've started being a football fan, like, my birthday is always the first week of the NFL season.
You know what's awesome?
What's that?
Not at the end of this season, but at the end of next season, I get Super Bowl birthday.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. God, that's so weird with the time change. It's like, wow, February 17th. Yeah. We go through half of February still in season. That's crazy.
Chris, that's Gabe's birthday.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, the 12th. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I got you conflated for a second. The two Illinois boys.
Both having birthdays 6 days apart.
Yeah, it's 12 or 11th. You have the 11th. You share the same
11th.
day as me. For some reason I said 12th in my mind. Sorry, I forgot your birthday temporarily. That is a bad friend right there, and I apologize. But we're gonna make it up for it. Anyways, what is the Virtual Ball Boys? What are we gonna be doing here? If you're new here, let me tell you, we're two guys who have no idea what the fuck we're talking about. That's what. But hey, we love football. We love talking about it. Matt's definitely in the fantasy realm. I just enjoy the chaos of it, and he does too. I always box him out of that, but I'm just saying that's really why I'm here for. I don't do fantasy as much, but we love coming together. We love talking about it, and we love making picks. We love picking games, and that's what we're gonna do today. We're actually spending the entire episode making picks, motherfuckers. All right, if you're sick of picks, no, this is not the episode for you. We're doing it the entire time, but we're not gonna pick all of week 1 right away. We're actually going to be doing our playoff and Super Bowl predictions before we get to week 1, and before we do all of that, we're actually going to be picking what we think the win total over under is going to be for every single team, and that's actually how we're going to get things started on this episode. We want to kind of like just go through it and kind of get a feel of where each of us are at with these teams going into the season, because it's been another crazy offseason. Some say may have been the wildest season. Season could be up there. It's up there. And we're just gonna get a feel. We're gonna like get our hands in it and just feel things out. So without any further ado, without any more procrastinating, let's get right into it. We're going to go in alphabetical order because that's how it's set up on the website that we're using, ESPN. Thank you very much for having at least some things that work well.
That'll cloud our judgment for later.
100%. Yeah.
For our divisions later.
Yeah. My favorite thing, my favorite thing that is very much a consistent theme for everyone. It's not just us, but how week 1 we go in and we're like, I got this. We know everything that's going on. We know how everything's gonna play out. And then week 2, we're like, start week 2, we're just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. And speaking of a team that continues to fucking send me, because there's just a lot going on with them, the Arizona Cardinals. We're gonna start right there. All right. So they are Arizona Cardinals. Their off season basically consisted of a Kyler Murray contract. I can't now. I was so good for the intro, and now I'm falling apart here. The Kyler Murray contract negotiations that ended in a contract that worked out well for Kyler, but with a passage in it being leaked to the press, essentially saying that Kyler Murray has homework that he needs to do. And that got a lot of backlash. And also just in general, the Cardinals, I don't think had an amazing offseason, especially considering how things ended for them. Matt, where are you at with the Cardinals? Right now the win total is at 9. Are you going over or under that?
So I will tell you what, I think that Cliff Kingsbury is a fantastic coach for coming up with a game plan that fucks with the rest of the league. The only problem is that he sticks to that game plan even after the league has figured that game plan out.
Yeah.
Which is why the Cardinals have tanked so often in the second half of the season. However, I think there are enough games for the Cardinals to win that they will be over 9 games.
Okay. Yeah, and now we're still kind of getting used to the idea of 17 game schedule, not the usual 16 that was pre 2021. I'm gonna go under. And this is only because I think with the Niners and the Rams, that's a very difficult schedule for them to have to deal with. I think they also will be playing like the Eagles. I think will be on their schedule this year because they were in the same place, and I don't trust that. And they're playing the AFC West. Like there's just a lot of difficult matchups here that I think that we could see a similar thing happen to them where they maybe start strong, but I think that they flatline a lot quicker than usual. I look at the Cardinals, I just don't really know what they are at this point. I don't know what their true identity is outside of Kyler, like relying on Kyler Murray to make the big plays. And losing Chandler Jones, I think, is a big blow for them and that defense. That doesn't that has JJ Watt, but like doesn't really have a big time star right now on that defense beat outside of that. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that.
All right.
Next up, go ahead.
The Atlanta Falcons had an offseason defined not by who came in, but who left. Matt Ryan left in free agency after they tried to get Deshaun Watson there. Calvin Ridley suspended for the year. So those are their 2 biggest players, pretty much off the board right away. Kyle Pitts, Drake London. That's it. In terms of big name playmakers. Marcus Mariota will be their quarterback. Not looking great for them. The over-under is set at 5.5. Chris, which way do you think they're going to go?
I think I'm going under. I like the idea of Arthur Smith maybe getting, things like getting the offense going. I could see the offense having some success this year, but with the lack of talent on the defensive side, like big time lack of talent, this is going to be a struggle bus for them. I think they have the chance of being the worst team in the NFC South, and I think they even have the chance to be a number 1 overall pick when it's all said and done. Like that's kind of where I'm at with the Atlanta Falcons.
I agree. They are my red flag alert of first overall pick.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville Jaguars sponsored first overall pick award.
Yeah. We'll see if they go back to back when overall picks like the Jaguars were, but yeah, no, I think I'm with you. It's like Falcons, I think are easy pick there.
Yep.
Next up, the Ravens. Last year really just they kind of crashed and burned because of all the injuries that they had to deal with. But this year, they're healthier. They have more talent across the board. Maybe some injuries to still worry about, but overall, this is a healthy Ravens team that looks like it could be a Super Bowl contender. They're over-under set at 9.5. Matt, what do you think?
I totally see this why this over-under is set the way that it is, but looking at all the Ravens' opponents and them being fully healthy, I think it's going to be a pretty easy over, at least for me. Maybe not super easy, but I think that they have a good chance of winning most of their games. They play the Giants this year.
Right.
They play the Browns twice.
Yeah.
They play the Jaguars. They play the NFC South, it looks like.
Yeah.
Maybe not just the Jaguars.
Starfish, by the way.
Starfish, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's new. We have to get used to it.
It's new. Yeah, I think they have a pretty good chance to smash this win total. Definitely score win more than 9 games. So I'm going over.
Yeah, I'm 1000% with you. I like the Ravens a lot this year. I feel like John Harbaugh is one of those coaches that you know that he has the ability to field like really great teams, and that even if they have a bad year, they'll get really, really close to 9 wins. Because that's just the amount of talent this team has, and that's at least my trust in the coaching staff. Mm-hmm. I think they do smash the over. I think they go a few wins above 9, at least.
Cool. All right, the Buffalo Bills, our last year Super Bowl darling. Well, they could continue to be this year. They've added a lot. Tre'Davious White will hopefully be back at some point soon. They're adding Von Miller on the defense. Offense still looks great. Josh Allen MVP pick. Chris, is there any way that the Bills score less than 11.5 wins?
It would be a huge disappointment if they did it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and I think especially, I mean, this is, don't get me wrong, this is the toughest the AFC has ever been. It is an incredibly deep conference where I struggle to even think of I struggle to even think of one team that's going to be completely bottom of the barrel dismal. I think the number 1 overall picks coming out of the NFC no matter what. Like, this is that's how much I have confidence about the AFC. Like, but even with that said, I think the Bills have the benefit of being in a division where the Dolphins, I like the Dolphins, but they're unproven, and like we don't really know how they're going to go this year. The Patriots have had a really, really rough off seasons, or specifically training camp, that a lot of people are kind of throwing red flags up about their offense not really being that good. And then the Jets losing Mekhi Becton, and then potentially being without Zach Wilson for maybe a little bit here. Maybe he even starts this week. Who knows? We're still early in the week here, but I don't know. I still don't know if the Jets are quite at that point yet. I feel like with the Bills, they should have an easy ride in this division, and it would be stunning if they have like less than 11 wins.
Yeah,
I think that they hit the over. I think they get to 12 at least. I think they'll probably go more.
Yeah, I think it's an easy over.
Yep. Next up, Carolina Panthers. What an interesting offseason for this team. Matt Rule, I think, has the hottest butt on the coaching carousel right now. I think that he's
not looking good for Matt. Coach's name Matt out there.
No, not at all. Yeah, he needs to win this year. He needs to get something going. And I will say, like, maybe like earlier in the offseason, I was like, what do the Panthers really have? But the more I've been sitting on it, I could see where this team can actually have a surprisingly decent season, especially with the way they started last year, even though that ultimately ended up falling apart. And they have Baker Mayfield, who I have more faith in than Sam Darnold. Matt, where are you at? Over, under 6 wins?
I think the Panthers have one of the easier schedules from what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And I think that by that, they already get to about 5 or 6 wins. And then I also think that they're going to surprise a lot of teams this year.
Yeah.
Which is what I say literally every year, and it literally never pans out.
But you know what? That's just the person that wants the Panthers to win in you. You know, you want
right. I want the Panthers to win. I want them to do good. They have still have a young but really solid defense.
Right.
And if they take a step forward, which it's looking like they may not. They may, I'm not sure. But if they take a step forward, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy the whole season, if Baker is 2020 Baker, I think that the Panthers will win more than 6 games. I'm taking the over.
I am too. And again, like it was kind of like all of a sudden I just started like looking. I was like, wait a minute, they still have Christian McCaffrey. If he's healthy, he's gonna be great. And then they have a decent amount. They have a decent amount of like weapons on the offense as well. Offensive line has struggled a bit in the training camp, which worries me, but the talent's there for them to be able to protect Baker. And then the defense has some young players that are really, really good. It's like, all right, yeah, 6 wins is definitely a very low win total. I feel like,
yeah,
I could see this team getting to 8 and 9, and that not necessarily being the most surprising thing, but they could even do more than that. So I'll go over 6.
All right. Next up, my Chicago Bears.
Bears.
Not looking the best. It's wild because Justin Fields in preseason is the best the Bears offense has looked since. I don't know how to finish that statement.
Yeah.
So he could be good, but he's got no supporting cast. They lost a lot of key pieces on defense. They lost Allen Robinson, which he didn't do anything last year anyway.
Yeah.
How do you think this is gonna go?
Yeah, I'm going under. Sorry, that's
okay.
I'd like to think that this team could improve, but I do think this team is kind of in a rebuilding phase with a new head coach and new GM. I know it sucks because you don't want this team to be in a rebuilding mode. You want them to finally get back into winning a good amount, but I think that there's just the talent that has left the team. They have not really done enough to replace it, and I feel bad for Justin Fields, but he alone, I think, will kind of give this team a few wins if he plays at the level that he was, especially in training camp. But he alone can't, I don't think, has it in him to win 7 games unless there's someone else in this this offense or just in general on the team that's going to be able to get them those extra W's. So I'm going under.
Oh, I am full agreement. I'm on the under for sure. Seems gonna suck.
Well, do you think that who do you think is going to be worse, the Falcons or Bears?
Falcons.
You think the Falcons are okay?
I think yeah. I think that's an easy one.
Yeah,
easy between the two.
I guess for me, the Falcons, I still feel like have more of the offensive weapons that make me think that they could go through it. But then at the other side of it, Bears still have some decent players.
Mooney, Montgomery are still pretty good,
right? And they still have some decent players. And then and on defense, they lost quite a bit on defense, but they having a defensive coach might help them in key situations. So I get what you're saying. I think I would say Bears are worse, but I could see both sides of it.
I think Luke Getsy is going to be insanely good this year.
That's true. I forgot. Yeah, and he obviously the quarterback coach from the Packers. And him coming over for that. Yeah. Hey, I would love to. I trust me.
Year.
Yeah, right.
Next year's our year.
I would love nothing to have one of our teams be good during a podcast because it's great. It's fun.
We're gonna be next year's last year's Bengals.
That's that's a good optimistic way of looking at it. Speaking of the Cincinnati Bengals, the team that took the world by storm and almost pulled off a miracle Super Bowl, my dudes. I'm thanking the Bengals for basically reigniting my love of this stupid sport. I love it. Their over under right now is 9.5. Matt, do you think that there is a Super Bowl hangover in the future for this Bengals team?
I think there might be, but I still think they'll reach 10 wins. I'm taking the over.
I'm completely with you. I think you and I are everything you just said makes me think that you and I are in lockstep. Where I don't think this team is going to be world beaters, number one overall seed, or even just fucking even if win the division. Like, I'm not confident about that. But I think that people are looking at this team and thinking they're going to completely falter. And I think this team has it in them for at least a wild card berth. Because I think the talent is there, and I think that I think this is a good enough coaching staff where like things could work out for this Bengals team. I like them. All right, next up,
the Cleveland Starfish sold their soul for a player they're not going to get to use for the first half of the season. Also, with no guarantee that he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Can they win 9 games?
No.
Can they win 8 games?
No, I don't think so.
Can they win 7 games?
No, I don't know about that.
Can they win 6? I set the bar at about 6.
Here's the thing. I think that a lot of people are looking at the lack of Deshaun Watson and not realizing the lack of a lot of other things on this team. Like the lack of receivers, the lack of a competent offensive line. They used to have a good offensive line. No, it's not. That's no longer the case consistently anymore. And then some nice young defensive pieces. Their secondary looks good, and Myles Garrett, of course, looks good. But I don't think this team has it in them to do that well right now with the way it's built. And so the Starfish, they're just going to have to go back and lie under a rock.
Yep. I'm with you.
Yeah. The Dallas Cowboys, fascinating team, as it usually is. I think it's annoying how much, like, I get where people are like, everyone always wants to talk about the Cowboys, but they're such a weird team that I kind of get why people always want to talk about
they're
them.
They're really fun to talk about with anybody other than Cowboys fans.
Basically, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, it's like, they're just they're such a strange team in general. This year has been, it's been a weird off season for them. They got rid of Amari Cooper. But they do still have a good defense. But they did lose Tyron Smith on the offensive line. But Dak Prescott's still there. It could go either way, Matt. Where do you think it's over 10 point? It's over under 10.5. Where are you at with that?
I think that win total is really high. I know they won their division last year, but holy shit, that Tyron Smith injury is going to be bad for the offense. I don't think they're going to be able to rush very well. I don't think that Dak is going to be able to pass very well. Other than CeeDee Lamb, he doesn't really have any receivers. I guess Dalton Schultz as well. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take the under.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking the under as well. It is very much... I think... I can't wait till we get to the Bucs-Cowboys conversation, because I think the two teams are in a situation of where they're losing. They both lost a piece on the offensive line that is really important to them and important to their success. So how do they move forward? It's going to be interesting to see how that matchup ends up working out. But I'm with you, under 10.5. I also think that they just have some very difficult opponents because of being a first place team last year. So it just happens that way. Next up.
Yep. Next up, the Denver Broncos. Biggest story about them is they gained Russell Wilson as their quarterback. New head coach Nathaniel Hackett. Will the combination of Aaron Rodgers, OC, and Russell Wilson be able to bring this team up from the depths and get over 10 wins?
Someone in this division has to underperform, right?
Right.
I think I think it's probably between like the Raiders and Broncos, and I don't know if any of them are gonna be like at like 6 wins when it's all said and done. I think that all of them have a chance to get over that. I have to see it with the Broncos, man. I love Russell Wilson, but like he's been on a lot of bad Seahawks teams as well as he plays, and I feel like it's not fully knowing what to expect from this team. Offensive side looks good, and then there's some key pieces on defense, but like I just need to see how this team kind of comes together, especially with a new head coach. Like there's a lot of factors here that I think are going to be important here for them to get to 11 wins is what we're basically looking at here. So yeah. I think 10 wins could happen, but over that I'm not too sure. What about you?
I'm actually going to take the over.
Okay.
Because I am maybe foolishly bullish on the Broncos this year, but I've thought for the past few years, like, hey, you get one quarterback, and you have this amazing wide receiver room. You have this amazing running back duo. You have a really solid defense. All the pieces are there, and I think it's going to work out. I'm going to go over 10.
Okay, yeah, and hey, look at the precedent that has been set the last few years. Tom Brady changes teams, he gets a Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford changes teams, he gets the Super Bowl. Now it's Russell Wilson's turn. This is the team that is going to be like that quarterback change team, unless it's Matt Ryan and we're all getting blindsided. But like, I think it's Russell Wilson.
Matt Ryan, dark horse.
But there you go. Yeah, I could see both sides of it a lot. Did you just go, or I go now, right? Okay.
Yes, you go.
Detroit Lions. A team that, if you've been watching Hard Knocks, that probably the most entertaining team that has been on Hard Knocks. One that actually has kept me watching Hard Knocks, because there's at least been a few seasons here where I've just dropped off of it because it's the same shit. This team is so unique, has such an interesting coaching staff of former players and guys who just are so passionate. They're such a fun team to root for, and I'm just excited to see if this team can do anything surprising this year. I don't know. I'm in between about whether or not this team is going to be able to get over 500, but Matt, this over-under's at 6. What do you think with the Lions?
I want the Lions to succeed so bad. They are my new starfish, but like when the starfish were like rootable.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the under.
Okay,
but it is a tentative one.
Yeah,
because I think they have the, like, they're very rootable to get that close, and I think it could happen. But I think I still don't think they have quite as many like huge players in order to do it.
Yeah, I think in an NFC like this, there's an opportunity and a window for them where I could see them maybe sneaking into the 7th seed, just because I think there's a lot of teams that are going to flop around them. But I am going over. I don't know. I am struggling with it. I think that there's a fictional world that I live in where this team at least makes the playoffs and at least keeps Dan Campbell safe for another year. Because protect that man at all costs. The complete weirdo.
He is a folk hero in Detroit right now.
He really is. But at the same time, I think at worst I would love this team to at least get to like 7-10, because that is at least a huge improvement over last year. So I'm gonna go over. Maybe that's a little optimistic, but it's just because I really want this team to be very good this year.
Totally get it.
Or at least a good time. A good watch.
Yeah, have a good time. Next up, the Green Bay Packers. Biggest story from them is they lost Devontae Adams. They lost their offensive coordinator. Matt LaFleur is still a great coach. Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVPs and playoff chokes.
Yeah.
And still being a huge, giant asshole.
Yes.
Over or under 11 wins.
Well, I think we're going to be in lockstep on this one. I'm going under.
Yeah.
Look, this team is not gonna not make the playoffs. I'd be stunned if this team doesn't make the playoffs.
Right.
That said, there has to be some repercussion for getting rid of Devontae Adams, right? Like, it can't be that the football gods are just being like, here, have another number 1 overall seed in a 14-3 season. Like, there has to be some repercussion. But their defense is also really good, so it's like, I don't know, maybe they don't get hurt as we maybe hope they do. What about you?
I'm absolutely under. Fuck them.
no reason to read into it further. How about this team, the Houston Texans? They have one of the worst win totals, I think, on this list of 4.5.
Yeah.
What do you think with this team? I'm curious from your perspective.
I think that they're going to be better than people give them credit for. I think Davis Mills is an underrated quarterback. I think that they still got Brandon Cooks. but they're still not going to be a great team. And looking at their schedule, I can only see a few spots where they could eke out a win. I have to pick the under, but it's like
okay.
I don't think they're like under 4.5 bad. I just like I don't know enough about them,
sure,
and don't have too much confidence in them to pick the over. Even though I don't think they'll quite be that bad. It's a weird dichotomy.
100%. I think the only reason why I picked over is I think that 4 is just ridiculously low for a team that I think. Like, Lovie Smith is at least a head coach that has been a head coach before.
Yeah.
Has a little bit more experience. Not saying he's going to be amazing at it, but especially with the talent on this team, like, I don't think it's going to be like this world-beating team or anything, like, but I could see 5 wins from them. I don't see that being the worst thing in the world. Like that, I just feel like 5 wins and 12 losses feels right for this team. I feel like anything lower than that, I'm just like, what is happening with this organization? Now, granted, it's a bad organization.
However, December 4th, we are all Texans fans.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Jesus Christ. I that is... Like, the NFL sucks so much for planning it that way. God damn it. All right. Anyways, next up.
Sorry, dogs are freaking out.
You got your dogs. Yeah.
Dogs are freaking out. Next up. Shush. What's going on? What's going on? Remy, stop.
Oh, no, Remy's having it. All right, well, if you want, I can do this intro while you deal with that.
No, I'm fine.
All right.
Next up, Indianapolis Colts. They got rid of Carson Wentz and received Matthew Ryan. Welcome to Matt Watch. I don't have my ukulele. I already said that this offseason, I'm sure.
That's fine.
Still a solid defense, still a great head coach. Receivers could be stepping up. They got Jonathan Taylor. How do you see this team this year?
I think they go over 9. I don't know. Like, it's the Colts are weird, man. I want this team to, like, have its talent actually be worth something. I think, like, at worst 10-7, right? Like, like that's what this team feels like. 'Cause, like, otherwise they could be really good. But like they just have these missteps and just weird moments that things just fall apart for them over just weird superstitious things that they've had to deal with over the years.
Yeah, I'm really bullish on the Colts this year. I'm gonna go over, and it's an easy over for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're coming from the basement right now. They have a new coach again. They are They will not be rolling out Urban Meyer. They're rolling out Doug Peterson this time around. Trevor Lawrence looks better. Travis Etienne is returning. Their defense looks like it's having a lot of young talent, including the number 1 overall pick. Matt, where are you at with this team?
Again, it's very similar to the Texans for me. And where I want it to happen, but we haven't seen it yet.
Right.
And I'm not sure yet. And this over-under is larger, so I'm going to go with the under.
I'm going to say over 6.5, and I'm going to have no further comment from this point forward.
Okay. You can certainly select that number.
Here's what I will say. I don't think it's crazy that they go 7 wins.
It's not.
I'll just say that. I'll just defend that aspect of it. But we'll have to be doing more defending later on. But anyways, continue.
All right, the Kansas City Chiefs losing Tyreek Hill over the offseason. Another wide receiver free agent departure. Haven't changed much else. Still have Patrick Mahomes. Still have Andy Reid. Can they make it happen for over 10.5?
I think they do. I think it's very much. It feels like people want to say at this point, because of the one really bad performance at the end of the Bengals game, that it's all going to start to fall apart for the Chiefs. And granted, all of last season, there were questions about how the offense may be taking a step back, and maybe is the league figuring it out, like all that kind of bullshit in that way. I'm just not at the point where I want to count out Patrick Mahomes. I know they're not with Tyreek Hill anymore. I know that this team still didn't really do a shit ton overall in the offseason to make it feel stronger overall, but I just 10.5, I could see this team at least getting to 11 wins. Like, this is usually one of the best teams in the league. They're in a much tougher conference though, so I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think 10.5 is pretty easy.
Yeah.
They're still going to be high scoring. I feel pretty good about it.
Yes. Next up, the Las Vegas Raiders. This is the team that got Devontae Adams. This is the team that got Chandler Jones. This is a team that has Josh McDaniels now at the forefront. And boy, oh howdy, do the Patriots wish McDaniels stayed in the building. What do you think is the win? What do you think? How do you think the win total is going to work out? Over under 8.5.
The Raiders get to play the NFC or the AFC South. The Seahawks.
Yes.
And we'll probably split a lot of division games. I think it's an easy over.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Big time. It's funny because I felt like I was starting to get really high on this Raiders team. With the way my predictions worked out, and this is just spoilers. It was hard for me to get the Raiders into the playoffs, but I think I would not be stunned if this team wins the division though. Like, they have talent. Yeah. They're really good. Like, and Josh McDaniels this could be Josh McDaniels' redemption arc from the horrible run that he had in Denver as a head coach. Like, who knows? Like, there's a way that people could grow and people can learn. Like, I think that this is maybe his opportunity to put what he has learned since that time to the test, and it could work out. So I like the Raiders this year.
All right. Next up, the Los Angeles Chargers, the other team in this division that did not make the playoffs last year, but everyone assumes will be better than the Raiders, who did make the playoffs last year. Justin Herbert, great offense, really great defense, great head coach. Can they beat 10 wins?
Here's the thing. You say that as if their chances of making the playoffs didn't come down to whether or not the Raiders decide whether or not they tie the game or not at the end. Like the Raiders kind of ruined that. I think I'm docking
the dumbest scenario imaginable.
I'm docking the Raiders a bit for that. Look, I know it's probably too much to put so much stock in the Chargers. But this curse that hangs over this Chargers team has to end at some point. And when you look at this team, and that they got better on both sides of the ball in some ways, like, I just really like this team. I really would like to see them succeed, and it would be fun to have the Chargers have a deep run, and Justin Herbert especially, who just continues to look better and better. I'm going over 10. I don't think it's absurd to see them getting to 11 wins or if more.
You say that like it's possible for them to get less than 10 wins.
That's true. I just
easy over.
Yeah, I just, you know what it is? It's it's the conference itself. Like, it's just such a deep conference that, like,
right,
anything can happen, I guess. But this team just feels like an over 10 for me, for sure. Next up, the Rams, the reigning Super Bowl champions. Over under 10.5 wins. Did they do enough in the offseason for you to make you feel like they could repeat over?
They 10, really didn't. They really didn't get worse,
right?
Like, at all.
Yeah.
And in some cases, you could say that they got better.
Right.
Easy over. Easy over.
Easy over is easy. Yeah. Like Allen Robinson, I think, is one of their biggest additions.
Yeah,
like, I think if he can return to form, like, I think that's going to be an easy situation for them to get back into this groove of things. Their defense still looks great. Their linebacking group even looks better than it has in recent years. Like, over 10.5, easy over easy.
Easy over easy. Miami Dolphins. What the fuck did you do, Steve? I forget if that's his name.
I think so. I don't know. Steven something. Whatever the Dolphins owner is.
Ross? I don't know.
Steven Ross, you're right. Yeah,
Steven Ross.
That's it.
Steve. New head coach. Tua very unproven. Got Tyreek Hill, though. Is that going to be enough to get over 8.5 wins? That is a really good number for this team, I think.
It is. It really... I think this was one I was struggling with the most. I feel like I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to say over. Because I think the reason why is I think this defense still looks very good on paper. I think they still have a really good secondary, especially. And there's something about Mike McDaniel that I just like. I feel like he has a way of... The fact that he's bringing in all these running backs to potentially use as, as a potential, rotating running back system, kind of similar to what they did in San Francisco. I just think that
he's only got 2 right now, though.
Oh,
Emmons and Mostert.
I forget about all, he signed a shit ton. I forget how many of them got cut. Regardless, it's still like those are 2 running backs that you could rely on, to a certain extent when you're using them in a system like that. And I just feel like this is Tua's chance to prove that he is still Tua. This is the biggest opportunity he's ever going to have, I think. I'm going to go over in an optimistic light. I don't know if it's going to be too much over, though. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm actually going to go under, and I think part of it is going to be the football gods reprimanding them for the offseason bullshit.
Mm.
And I think, if they succeed, it will be because of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
If they fail, I think it will be because of Tua. And I think that Tua is a pretty... Tua is just, he's so up and down. I don't know what to do with him. Yeah. I'm going to go under. This is a long-ass podcast to start out.
No, that's fair. No, hey, we could maybe speed run a little bit here, but I'm okay with giving these teams their due and just talking about them because we haven't really dug deep like this before.
True.
The Minnesota Vikings, they have a new head coach, Kevin O'Donnell. They are now with now Kirk Cousins will have an offensive-minded head coach with him. For the first time since he was in Washington. What's gonna happen with this team, Matt? Over, under 9 wins.
I am maybe foolishly bullish on the Vikings this year. I'm going over.
This was another one. They're back to back to me where I'm like, it's so hard, man. It's so hard. I think in reality, I think it's gonna be over. I just don't have the full faith in their defense right now. They do have some players there, but it's not this incredible system going on over there. And I just I think that there's room for them to potentially fall apart again, but this is the first time that we're seeing the Vikings without Mike Zimmer in years, and that change could make a huge impact for better or for worse. And I think it is over. I don't know if I'm not entirely confident about that though.
Cool. Next up, the New England Patriots. What do we another what the hell do we do with this team? Their offense looks like shit. Will Mac Jones take a step forward? Do they have receivers? Who knows? Is their defense good? Who knows? Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Matt Patricia's calling plays.
On offense, though.
On offense.
Man, what the fuck is going on with this team? I don't quite understand what's happening, and I think at this point, I usually, you know me, I've been Patriots are one of those teams where you just can't root against or pick against, rather. I gotta go under because I'm getting bad vibes about this team, Matt. There's something about, there's so many red flags about the way the training camp went, right, where the reporters who have been covering this team for years are coming back and being like, yeah, this does not look good. Like, that has not really happened before with Belichick, even though they've been off to slow starts many times before, and I'm sure that when we get to December, they will be figuring something out, but is it so catastrophic that it might be too little too late when it finally gets, like, they finally get things working in, like, mid-December. So I go under.
Yeah, it's an easy under for me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Rough go of it, Patriots.
Rough go, Patriots. Not gonna be fun.
New Orleans Saints. This team, of course, without Sean Payton for the first time in years. Dennis Allen, of course, head coach. Very good defense. Jameis Winston at the helmet at quarterback. What do you think's going to happen here?
I think Jameis Winston looks surprisingly good, like better than he did in Tampa Bay and even better than he did the brief stint that he played last year. I think the defense will still be solid. Michael Thomas could be back to, like, full form. Alvin Kamara is not going to get suspended this season, most likely. I think they're going to get at least 8 wins.
Yeah. I'm over. I am over as well. I think the Saints team, they're gonna be the splinter in the foot of the Buccaneers that you just can't quite get rid of. I think the Saints will be just that. Next up,
the New York Football Giants, new head coach, potentially new offensive scheme, but not a lot different in terms of their personnel. Is Daniel Jones anything, or will he go out with a whimper at the end of this year?
God, this team is so complicated, man. I don't. It's definitely an under, right? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to argue for over 7.
7 is too high.
That is really high for an over under right now. Like, the Giants still, like, say what you will. I generally like the offseason for the Giants, not to win this year, but just as general building talent and the people that they hired. Like, I'm putting more trust in this team than I have had in years. That said, it would be very shocking if it kind of comes together right now with the way this team is. And I'm not quite at the point where I want to be, like, over my head, like, excited about them. So I'm going under 7, very easy.
I am also going under 7.
There you go. Speaking of New York Jets, over under 5.5. Kind of seemed like a positive vibe over the Jets, and then the injuries started to pile up for them. What say you about the Jets?
I think the injuries is gonna, like, just continue being the way that all Jets go, and they're gonna be an under 5.5 this year.
Yeah, I feel like it has to start clicking at some point for this team. I feel like Zach Wilson, maybe he won't be out for too long. Maybe with Flacco, they get some wins, but their schedule is kind of brutal in the front. But I don't know. I'm gonna go over. Okay. But it's not in a they're gonna be a winning team. I think this team has 7-10 potential.
Okay.
Because I think I like the talent that they were starting to build with, and losing Mekhi Becton I don't think will be the worst thing in the world. It sucks for a guy that you drafted, but getting Dwayne Brown in there is a guy. That's a longtime veteran guy who's done well, not as well in Seattle, but he's done well in the league otherwise. And but Zach Wilson is the X factor. Zach Wilson has to play well, and you have to see about that.
Yep. Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles added A.J. Brown in the offseason, added Gardner Jones as cornerback. They've had a decent, like, I think understated offseason to, like, add some players. And they made the playoffs last year. Will Jalen Hurts take a step forward and take this team forward?
I think everyone is on the Eagles hype train, and I will count myself as a passenger. I think that this is a team that its defense looks so good. And I think with the amount of weapons that this team has and the offensive line that has always been among the best in the league, I think this is Jalen Hurts' time to shine. I really like this team over 9.
If you're a passenger, I'm the conductor. I'm the one collecting the tickets.
Fair enough.
I will also take over 9.
Oh no, I don't have my ticket.
Well, just looks like I'm leaving you in New Jersey.
No!
Say hi to Dr. Oz for me.
Oh, that's a good one. Good
politics joke.
Good, yeah, good political humor. Whee! All right, so Pittsburgh Steelers is next. This team, so this is my hot take. I think the Steelers have upgraded at quarterback, to be honest with you.
I agree with you.
Now this team is also known for having good defense. Last year their defense was not as good, but they still have the talent where it could be a top unit in the league and get them some wins. And Mike Tomlin has been known for having a winning record consistently. But will that change this year, Matt? The over-under is set at 7.5.
That's just the thing. Mike Tomlin always has a winning season.
Right.
And it's an over 7.5. And winning season would mean 9 wins, right, which means they will hit the over.
Yeah.
It's simple math.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. It's like there's no logic in play. I just think that they will be at the very least like the 9 or 10 seed in the AFC and maybe miss the playoffs or maybe sneak in there. But I in the AFC, I think 9 wins is gonna be very difficult to make the AFC playoffs at this point.
Oh yes, I agree.
So yes, but I'm with you. I'm going over.
All right, San Francisco 49ers. This is a wild team in a wild division. They have most of the same people they did last year. However, this time Trey Lance will be the quarterback. They almost made the Super Bowl last year. Will they be able to do it again? How many games will they win this season? Tell me, Chris.
I think it's going to be over 10. I like them. I like this team. I still think that this team has the talent on the offensive side that I just think that you could rely on, especially with Kyle Shanahan being at the play calling position, and then the defense is just always just a deep, and they put up a fight against a lot of talented teams when it comes to their offense. And I think swapping in Trey Lance, I don't know, maybe I'm just hopeful, but I think it might be an upgrade for them. I think that it could work out in their favor. I like this team a lot. I'm going over 10.
Yeah, I think I'm going over 2. I think this is the problem is I think this is an exactly 10-win team.
Fair enough.
Which is weird, which is a problem.
Yeah. The only thing I'm with you. Like, I definitely think it could be 10-7. Is the fact that they're in a I mean, granted, they have to face the AFC West, but in general, that the conference that they're in, I think is going to help them maybe get even higher than that, because this is just a very deeply talented team.
Yeah, I'll go over as well.
Next up, the Seahawks. They came into the offseason with Russell Wilson. They're leaving with it with Geno Smith at the helm of this team. Is there any hope for having more than 6 wins this year, Matt?
I don't think it's possible, because I don't think they have depth at literally any position except wide receiver, which is a position that doesn't work if you don't have quarterback depth.
Right.
They're probably one of the easiest picks on the board. They're going to be under 6.
I'm 1000% with you. Among the potential number 1 overall picks, I think.
Yes.
For this season, unfortunately.
Next up, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady is back. He wasn't, and then he was. He's here again. However, their offensive line is a bit diminished, especially in the middle, and that's where Brady struggles most, when he gets pressure up the middle.
Yep.
Will that affect their win total? 11.5.
This was another one that I was just I was on the struggle bus with. Because as much as I'm like, that offensive line's going to be an issue, it's going to be an issue. They're going to struggle. God, they have so much fucking talent outside of the offensive line. It just, I love their weapons, and I like their defense still. Todd Bowles still in charge of the defense. Brian Leftwich still in charge of the offense. Like, those are two coaches. Granted, like, I know Todd Bowles wasn't the most loved coach in New York, but I think this is such a perfect situation for him, because the team has basically been gifted to him. Here's a super talented team. Run with it as you may, and I just still like this team. I don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders, but I think they still get the division win, even though it's tight. It might be tighter. I'm gonna go over 11.5. It is so razor thin, though, that margin. It's tough for me.
I'm gonna say under, and I'm gonna be very spicy with this team this season.
All right.
Now listen, 11-6.
Yeah.
Like, that would not be surprising to me.
Yeah, the thing is too, like, it just comes down to the Brady effect for me, where it's we've been saying that his demise is coming for so long, and it just feels like it's there. It's almost there. We're almost at that point, but then every year he puts up numbers that are insane for someone at his age at this point, that it's just like, can we continue to count this guy out? Like, yes, he has struggled behind the offensive lines before, and it's the reason why his teams have fallen apart. But now that, because it happened in the training camp, I wonder if there's been adjustments made, and that's my thing. That I'm just like, the Bucs are just annoying to kind of predict at this point, outside of just saying they're good.
Yeah,
no matter what. But yeah, next up, the Titans. They are the rating number 1 overall seed. No one's talking about them as if they are were a number 1 overall seed last year, but that's because they had the crushing blow and loss against the Bengals in the playoffs. They're over under 9.5. What do you think, Matt?
This is another hard one, but I don't know if Derrick Henry is going to be at full strength. That worries me. I think that, like, losing A.J. Brown, even though they got Treylon Burks, they got Robert Woods there, I still don't think it's going to be, like, enough to replace A.J. Brown. And I really trust Mike Vrabel as a head coach, but Tannehill felt like he took a step back last season. I think it's going to be under.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think this was another one of those really difficult ones. I think I'll lean under. I just feel it's so weird doubting this team, but they did give away AJ Brown, and they did not have Derrick Henry. Like you said, Derrick Henry not being healthy, and then the situation with the quarterbacks. The only X factor I would think is, like, what if they replace Tannehill with Malik Willis? And, like, just all of a sudden everything starts firing at all cylinders. Like,
yeah, how good do you think Malik Willis? I don't think Malik Willis is going to be, like, super good right away, though.
Right. No, I know. I'm just saying these weird things happen in the league for that to happen. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'll go with you. I'm under.
Cool. And finally, the Washington Commanders, new name, new quarterback in Carson Wentz, who's now on his 3rd team. No Chase Young still to start the year on defense. The over-under is 7.5.
Fucking under.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that's the over-under. That's probably the most baffling one for me.
Yeah.
I get there is some nice weapons, but, like, I don't know, man. This defense, for years we were saying how good the defense is, and then all of a sudden they just completely fall apart during.
It stops being a good defense,
right? Even though they still have the talent for it, like, it's
right.
Just, it's bizarre, man. I just don't trust it. I just don't trust this team right now. So I'm going under.
All right.
There you go.
I was not paying attention to how many we agreed or disagreed on.
That's okay. We if you have it, you put it into the system, right? That I have here.
Yeah, it's on the system.
So it will be there. We can probably check, and we'll keep track of it. But yeah, this is a weird. This was a fun exercise. I'm glad that we were able to dive into our teams, and now it's time to expose ourselves. But before we do that,
All right, take my shirt off now.
Before we do that, let's take a word from our sponsor. Hi, everyone. It's Chris, and I'm back once again to tell you all about Anchor. Anchor by Spotify has actually been the tool of choice for Team Chaos Productions since the moment we decided to get into podcasting. And the biggest reason for this is it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or even your phone. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, but also Apple Podcasts and many more. And best of all, Anchor is free. You do not need to worry about any features being locked out to you. You can get it all if you just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Happy podcasting.
Sick of talking about video games with people who just want to be toxic? Me too. So join us over at the Gaming Coop. We come together each month to talk about what we love about video games. Discussion topics range from our favorite soundtracks to the best relationships between characters. We also have some fun segments in which we play some trivia or build our school of gaming. Find us on Anchor or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Game on!
And we're back. All right. It's time to expose our season predictions. What do we think the playoffs are going to look like? So let's start, Matt. I want to start easy. Let's start NFC. I want to hear what your 7 teams that are going to be entering the NFC playoffs.
All right, I told you I was getting spicy, right?
I love it. Give me spicy.
All right, I really mean this is like almost fever dreamish.
Let's do it. Give me fever dream.
Number 1 seed is the least fever dreamy of them all. The Los Angeles Rams are going to repeat 1 seed. Or they're going to not repeat 1 seed, but they're going to be the 1 seed.
All right. Sounds good.
Super Bowl champs.
Okay.
Number 2, Minnesota will win the division.
At number 2.
Whew.
All right.
Because at number 3 is the New Orleans Saints, who have also won the division.
Okay. Wow. All right. I love it.
And number 4, Philadelphia.
So
which is somehow the least spicy on this list. Other than the Rams.
Other than the Rams, right. Yeah. All right. What about your wild cards? I'm just curious what your wild cards are.
My wild card teams, number 5 will be Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I think most likely scenario is New Orleans and Tampa Bay will have the same win total, but New Orleans will hold the tiebreaker.
That's fair. Yep, that's fair.
Number 6 will be San Francisco. And number 7 will be Green Bay.
Okay. All right. I think compared to that, I'm a little bit more chalk, but maybe with some surprises. I went Rams number 1. I 2 just because I can't. I'm not there yet, man. I'm not there with the Bucks. I understand where you're at, but I'm gonna keep the Bucks at 2. But we'll see how the beginning of this season goes, because I think they have a tough schedule to start things off. I think they have the Saints already in week 2, so they'll get challenged out of the gate. Number 3, I have the Packers. And number 4 is the Eagles for me.
Right.
So we kind of matched on 1 and 4. Number 5, I have the 49ers.
Okay.
Number 6, I have the Saints.
Okay.
And because it's my predictions, I'm saying number 7 is the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
And it was tough. It was between the Lions, the Vikings, and the Cowboys. They were all kind of sitting on the fringe, and I think I just looked at it. I was just like, "Fuck it, man! I'm going with my heart, not my brain. Like, I don't care. Like at this point, with how chaotic this season went last year, like, who would have predicted the Bengals to make it to the playoffs, let alone make it all the way to the Super Bowl? I'm like." Let's say fuck the world. Who cares about these predictions? They don't matter anyway. I'm saying number 7 Lions, just because they're spicy. They have a very interesting team that I think is going to be fun to see evolve over the course of the season. I think it's interesting.
All right.
Do you want me to go first for AFC?
Yeah, let's have you go first for AFC.
All right. So I went Bills number 1, not surprising.
Okay. Yep.
I went number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. That just, I feel like it just makes sense for them to bounce back. Number 3, I think the AFC West, the whole conundrum about the AFC West, who's going to win it, I think I'm landing on the Chargers. I like them a lot at number 3. And number 4, I'm going Jacksonville Jaguars as the AFC South champion.
What?
I think, Matt, here's the thing. I feel like there's just bad vibes around the Titans. I feel like the Colts, as talented as they are, just flail at some point, fall apart for no good reason. And the Texans, I just am not at that point either. The Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence, and I feel like with him and the way that people are talking about him, especially during training camp, and the way that, in general, like that, how he is going to be this generational talent. He doesn't have the weapons, but I just feel like with a guy like that leading your team, why can't the Jaguars be this year's Bengals? Just go from worst to first and shock the world. I'm here for a number 4 seed Jaguars team that gets off in the wild card round, but I don't care. That's my pick for number 4.
All right. What about your wild card?
The Kansas City Chiefs at number 5, the Colts at 6, so I still have the Colts making it. And then number 7 is the Cincinnati Bengals. I feel like it's a way for them not to quite fall out of the running, but it's enough of maybe a Super Bowl hangover for them maybe not to kind of reach, back to the heights of what last year ended up being for them. So there you go. I expect a much different lineup for you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the first 3 are actually the same: Buffalo, Baltimore, LA.
Okay. All right.
That's my top 3. We're on the same page there. And then for number 4, I did have Indy winning the division.
I think, and honestly, that is the most logical choice. I totally respect that.
Yep. And then and I know I think I did this last year, but just because it's so funny for it to happen, my 5, 6, and 7 are Kansas City, Denver, and Las Vegas.
Okay.
Because I think the division is good enough for all of that to happen.
Yeah. And with the 7, the 7 has basically given us the opportunity where a full division could make it. Yep. I do not doubt that being a possibility. 100%.
I will say, it's harder this year for the AFC West than it was for the NFC West last year, if the Seahawks were good.
Right.
Or 2 years ago, whenever that was possible. But the reason, because the NFC was bad the past couple years, the AFC is really good this year. You still have the Bengals that are not on my list.
Mm-hmm.
You still have, actually, it's really only the Bengals that I feel like are slided from this list.
Yeah.
Maybe the Dolphins.
Maybe
the Steelers. Not really the Steelers.
Not really the Steelers, but I see what you mean.
Yep. Maybe the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals are the only team that I feel strongly should be on this list.
Yeah.
But I don't know which AFC West team I would kick off.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just think it's a weird AFC, man. I think anything could happen. I think that we are on a verge. We're in a collision course for just some weirdness. By any chance, I forget if I checked in with you. Did you do awards?
I did do awards, yes.
Okay, cool. So then let's...
Do you want to do the Super Bowl pick first or the awards first?
I like the awards first, just because I feel like the Super Bowl is the big one. It's the big reveal. So let's hold off on Super Bowl. Let's start Offensive Player of the Year. Who do you have?
I have Justin Jefferson.
Okay, very nice. I went Debo.
All right, I like it.
All right,
Defensive Player of the Year.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll say Micah Parsons.
I also said Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a breakout year for him. All right. Offensive Rookie.
I'm gonna go with Dameon Pierce.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's funny because we were just talking about it. I'm saying let's let chaos reign and say Malik Willis.
Jesus Christ.
I think that's look, the Titans. I have them outside of the playoffs. I just see this team maybe it could have a really rough stretch. They put Malik Willis in, and then they maybe start winning games. I don't know.
They Tannehill.
Basically, exactly. That's where I'm thinking with the Titans. Maybe but not. It's not gonna be good enough for them to make the playoffs. But let's just shit go crazy and let's have Malik Willis get the offensive rookie. All right. And for my D-Roy, I think the rookies. I phoned it in. I'm going with it's very rare on this podcast where I could just homer about something. I'm just gonna go Kayvon Thibodeau. We don't know.
I also say Kayvon Thibodeau.
Oh, cool, awesome. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm happy that we're on the same page.
He's got the vowels.
He's got all the vowels, and it's also just like I don't know. Like I think he just reminds me of this like a guy that's gonna end up making New York Giants football maybe a little bit more fun, and that's really all I want. I just want the team to be fun to watch, and so. Yeah. I'm hoping for it. I'm gonna root for it through that. All right. Well, who's your coach pick?
Coach pick or comeback?
Either one. Okay. Whichever one you want to go first.
All right. I'll do coach pick first. I'm gonna go Brandon Staley.
I think if my playoffs are gonna be what they are, I have to pick Dan Campbell as my coach.
There's no, yeah. I was gonna say.
There's no like I can't go any other way with that.
Yep.
What about your comeback? All right, I'll go comeback and say Trevor Lawrence. Like just again, it makes sense for me for the Jaguars. As a guy that had a really rough season, mainly because of the circumstances that he was in, he bounces back and has a great season ultimately, and again with my playoff layout, ended up making it as a 4 seed.
All right, I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey, and I think that's another player who I'm gonna do every year until he stops fucking getting injured.
that's completely fair, really fair. All right,
your MVP, Chris, is
Justin Herbert.
I also said Justin Herbert.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Feel good about that. Feel good about Justin Herbert's chances this year. Okay. Who's going to go first for Super Bowl?
I'll go first.
All right.
AFC. The hardest division to select from. This is a team that... So there's 3 teams that I really want to root for. Like, above everyone else.
Sure.
It is the Chargers... It is the Ravens, and it is the Bills.
Yep.
The Ravens, personally, are my favorite team of the 3. Like, in terms of rooting interest, the Ravens are in, like, my top 5.
Sure.
They fluctuate between 3 and 5 pretty consistently. But damn, this Buffalo team, like, I want success from so bad. They were so close to it last year, even though they didn't even make the conference championship. That's how good they played. I have to pick the Bills on the AFC side.
Fair enough.
I like spicy. I don't like spicy food. I like spicy takes.
Sure, go spicy.
I am picking Philadelphia for the Super Bowl in the NFC.
Love it.
I think that it is a wild step forward for this whole team to take, but I think that they did just enough in this weird NFC that they could do it. The Bills will defeat the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 50, whatever this is. 57?
Yeah, I think 57. I
57.
I'm losing track myself.
Yep.
Love it. I think that's a great. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. I think the Eagles are going to be really spicy this year. I'm with you on that. Like I think the Eagles could absolutely be like it's not quite Bengal level bounce back, but like it's kind of like oh wow, this is a very surprising turn of events for them to all of a sudden be one of the best NFC teams all of a sudden. But yeah, I totally see that happening. You mentioned the 3 teams that you love in the AFC. The Bills, the Ravens, and Chargers, and I think I'm in the similar camp to you. I throw the Bengals in there as well. It's like those are like the 4 teams I really, really love, and would really love to see find success during this crazy AFC season.
Mm-hmm.
I think when it's all said and done, I think that the Chargers demons are going to finally be exercised or whatever the fuck the word is.
Yeah, it works.
And I love the Chargers to make it the distance and make it to the Super Bowl. And I think they are going to meet Trey Lance at the Super Bowl. And they're going to have the 49ers go up against them, but I think they're going to pull it out. The Chargers are going to beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
I would love that. I would love a Chargers Super Bowl win. That
is a rematch of a 90s Super Bowl. I believe that was Steve Young's Super Bowl that he was starting.
Yeah.
But that was a blowout. I think this game could be a lot closer. I like the Chargers getting the edge here. There's just something about I'm with you on the sense that I do think it could be the Bills' time, but sometimes I hate when we rally around a team because it's like, what if we're missing something though? What if something happens? Anything could happen, and I just feel like I feel like if it's not going to be the Bills, it's going to be one of the handful of teams that you mentioned, maybe the Chiefs in there. And
Denver's another one for me that I think I feel very strongly about.
Yeah, like anything like that can happen, but I don't know. I just feel like it's the Chargers' time to finally overcome their just ridiculous luck that they've had over the years of just either injuries or bad clock management or just melting away despite all the talent that they have on the roster. It just feels like the right time for them. So there you go. All right. It is time. Week 1 picks. Matt, the way that we have done this before, I mean, not that this is none of this is news to you, obviously. I'm just talking more for for the audience. Way we've done this is we pick games straight up. We don't do we did some Vegas stuff just now. We're not doing Vegas stuff here. All right? We're just this is a straight up who do we think is going to actually be the victor in the game. But we throw in some twists here. So we actually have a point system. And so for every game that we get right, we get a point. However, there is bonus points that you could get and bonus points that you may risk as well. And it comes into these two factors. There's the guarantee, where you say you guarantee that this team's going to win. If you get it right, you just get a point, nothing changes. But if you get it wrong, that gives you a -1 bonus point. That means you get points taken away if you get it wrong. On the flip side, you can team chaos a team, which essentially is an underdog that you think is going to surprise. And if you get it right, you get a bonus point, so that's 2 points for getting it right. And there's a lot of possibilities where we could have 2 guarantees go up against each other, 2 team chaoses. I mean, I don't know how that would work, but I guess 2 team chaoses could work. But and we also have a guarantee versus team chaos matchup,
which we call a super fucko.
A super fucko,
where it either goes very neutral or it really tips the balance in one of our directions.
100%.
And whoever does the guarantee is always worse off.
100%. 100%. So I'm excited. To dive into it. Let's get started with one of the greatest kickoff matchups we've seen on paper to date. The Buffalo Bills going to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. It's the Super Bowl favorite versus the reigning Super Bowl champion. Matt, who do you think's winning this game?
This could be the matchup at the end of the year.
Yep.
In February. I will take the Bills.
Okay. Here's the thing with this. I'm at the point with this. I love the Bills. I feel like I've kind of like cast the Bills aside this entire podcast. My problem with this matchup is that they are having to travel a long way, and then they're also going to have to be on the benches while watching the other team hang up their Super Bowl banner, and that tends to not always work out for the road team. I like the Rams a lot, and I like them so much that I'm guaranteeing the Rams winning this game.
Okay, mini fucko.
Mini fucko. Well, isn't that all guarantees? In a way, he's a mini fucko.
Well, it's the fact that I'm going against you.
That
makes it mini fucko.
That's fair. It's a mini fucko.
If I pick the Rams and you pick guarantee the Rams, it would be a regular fucko. This is just a mini fucko.
This is a mini fucko and a super fucko. Okay, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, no,
there's no middle ground fucko.
I just think the Rams are really, really good, and I think this is it's just a really tough draw for the first road game of the season for the Bills.
Yeah. Why did this have to be the first?
Yeah.
Game.
We gotta make it.
I mean, it's gonna be great, but one of these teams is gonna be 0-1, and that doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Totally fair.
Next up, New Orleans Saints against the Atlanta Falcons. I don't feel like we really need to talk a lot about these teams because we just did that.
Yeah, we could go right into it. We have
New Orleans Saints, Atlanta Falcons. Who you got?
I'm gonna say the Saints. I think they are in good shot to just blow out this team.
I agree with you. Let's go Saints.
Yeah. Next up, 49ers at the Bears. Justin Fields versus Trey Lance. What do you think is gonna happen?
It's weird because mentally in my head, like, as good as the 49ers have been, they don't feel like an automatic win in any matchup to me. But this one, they do. I'm going to go with the 49ers.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, yeah, I'm 49ers as well. I'm not confident in the Bears until they show me otherwise.
Yep. Next up, Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals, the defending Super Bowl runner-ups. Mitch Trubisky. What do you got?
Mitch Trubisky. No, I'm going with the Bengals. Here's the thing: the Steelers could absolutely shock people here. They've done it before. They shocked the Bills last year, I think. Like they have it in them, but I feel like the Bengals need to get off to a good start. Let's not let the Super Bowl hangover consume them just yet. I'm going to go Bengals.
Yep, I'm also going Bengals.
Next up, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. Eagles have a lot of high expectations around them. Lions, except for me, maybe don't have as much of high expectations on them. So different pressures coming into this. What do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Me too.
New England Patriots at Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins, new coaching staff. New England Patriots. Something's going on.
Something.
What you got?
I got Dolphins.
Yep. I don't think the Dolphins are going to have an overly successful season, but I think they'll win this game.
Yep. Baltimore Ravens at New York Jets. Feels easy, Matt.
It's the Ravens.
Yep.
No Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Ravens are going to win.
Ravens got him.
Yeah.
I got him.
Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Washington Commanders is our next matchup.
Yeah.
I think I know where your head's going, Chris.
Yeah, I'm digging my heels in. I'm going Jaguars. I think the coaching change is the massive factor here with the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's gonna just change the mindset of things. I think Doug Peterson is a good coach. I think the whole reason why he was let go was because of front office clashing. I don't think it was because of how he is as a head coach. I just trust him. That's the bottom line.
I trust them a lot, and they fall out of the limit. So I'm going to team chaos the Jaguars.
Oh, there you go. Really? Are they that much of a underdog?
They're 3.5 point underdogs.
That's crazy. All right, fair enough.
Which is not a lot, but also like I feel like the Jaguars are still just very unproven as of now.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they're facing Carson Wentz, who sucks against Jaguars.
Right, yeah. That surprises me, but yeah, fair enough. All right. Next up is the Cleveland Starfish at the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield revenge game. Does he get his revenge, Matt?
I guarantee that Baker will get his revenge. Hey. I think that this shitty-ass franchise that looks like shit.
Smells like shit.
Smells like shit.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett is fine, but he's not, like, Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. And
now the Panthers are just overall better, and they're at home, and I'm going to guarantee the Panthers. This is how it's going to work.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Panthers as well. I really like them in this game. I think that they're going to be very interesting to watch all season long. As the probable third place team in this division, but who knows? Maybe the Bucks are bad. Maybe the Saints fall apart. Who knows?
Who knows?
Next up,
Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans.
I have looked at the records, and I have seen that the Colts have not won an opening game since 2013. And I've been saying all along this podcast that while I do like the talent on this team, and I think they are probably going to win the AFC South, I just don't completely trust them. I think I've lost their trust. They need to gain back my trust after how they fell apart against Jacksonville last year. I'm going Team Chaos, the Houston Texans. I just feel like they're gonna come in with a surprise game plan, and they're at home, and I think things are gonna get a little spicy, a little bit difficult for the Colts out of the gate, even though it does look easy on paper.
I think that is a good pick. I'm still gonna pick the Colts, but I like your chaos a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Next up, New York Giants at the Tennessee Titans. Considering that this is maybe the worst 4:00 game on paper, not a terrible matchup overall, all things considered. What do you think is going to happen?
Bad. I still think the Titans are going to win. Because again, I do not trust the Giants. I want to see what they're made of. We know enough about the Titans to know what they're made of.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I say that like this could be a nice matchup. It also could be a blowout in the Titans' direction, and it would not surprise me one bit. I like the Titans here.
All right. Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings. Great matchup right away. I wish this ended the season too. It may. I haven't checked the schedule, but
maybe.
Who do you got between these two teams?
This was a tough one because I felt like the Vikings were in the back of my mind a lot during the off season. I feel like I haven't heard much about them, so to automatically be like they're gonna win against the Packers is surprising, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick the Vikings just because they're at home, and I don't know, the Packers have been susceptible to weird openers, and I feel like this could be one of them, so I'm going Vikings.
Like I said, all podcasts, I feel great about the Vikings this season, and I think they're going to take the division from the Packers, and part of that is beating them, so I think it's going to happen. Vikings.
There you go. The Kansas City Chiefs at Arizona Cardinals, a game that looks really good on paper, but will it be fun to watch, Matt?
If the Cardinals weren't so injured and or suspended, I think it would be, but since they are, I'm going to go the Chiefs.
I'm with you, the Chiefs. I for some reason, I'm just really not buying the Cardinals this year.
No, which is a shame because I like the Cardinals a lot.
Yeah, but I'm going Chiefs.
Yeah. Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers, another divisional matchup right away. Will the Chargers get their revenge from last season's not-tie game?
This is all I've been thinking about is this game, you know?
What happens if this game ties?
Oh, well, then that I'll be bitter as fuck about that. I'm going Chargers just because again, they are my Super Bowl pick, and I also want them to get revenge against this Raiders team that robbed them of a tie.
Yep. I'm also going Chargers here.
Yeah. That's probably going to be a split game, like a split series. Like the Raiders,
I would say so. Home team wins both times.
Yeah, like I think that's probably how that works. But right now,
what would be really funny, and I'm planting this flag right here, is that every AFC West series is split.
Yeah,
like completely.
You know what? It's probably gonna happen, right? Like
that's probably the only way to satisfy all four getting in the playoffs.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like if anyone loses twice to a team, like it's gonna be tough road ahead.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football: Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Dallas Cowboys. The least exciting primetime games, maybe, but
it's them boys.
It still looks interesting on paper.
It's still them boys.
What do you think about this one?
I mean, two teams with offensive line troubles.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers, but I don't think it's a slam dunk.
I think both teams have offensive line issues. Like you said both. Yeah. I forgot you said both.
Yep.
They both teams have offensive line issues. I just look at everything else on both teams, and I just think the Buccaneers are way more talented than the Cowboys. I struggle with the Cowboys in thinking like that offense just right now for me doesn't look all that great on paper. It does have the players, but like even last year there are moments where we were just kind of like the game plans that Kellen Moore's coming up with are just not all that great. and I'm struggling with the Cowboys' prospects overall. I just think the Bucs are going to be a better prepared team for this moment, so I'm going Bucs.
I agree. Last up, Denver Broncos at the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson revenge game. Seahawks didn't do him dirty, so it doesn't feel like revenge. But I mean,
there is the rumors that Pete Carroll did not like Russell Wilson.
All right, then could be some nice revenge. It's also a Drew Lock revenge game, but no one cares about that.
No one really, yeah. I think if you're leading into the Drew Lock storyline on this, you're going to be let down when he does not come off the bench at all. I'm going Broncos. I mean, I think we're excited for this. I'm excited for this game because it could be spicy. But if we're really looking at it, it's a Broncos team that's incredibly talented versus a Seahawks team that's not. It's probably gonna be Broncos.
I'm also going the Broncos. Let's ride.
There you go. God. All right. So that's 2 disagreements for this week. Right. Starting out limited, like it's low scale.
We got to turn that up. Got to make it unlimited.
Unlimited. God fucking damn it.
This is going to turn into Russell Wilson quotes the podcast.
No.
Those are the only 2 that I know.
That's me too. But or like Go Hawks, like when he was back on the Seahawks, and that's about it. Anyways,
Mr. Worldwide.
It's fucking that's gonna do it. And just to recap our guarantees, I'm guaranteeing the Rams. Matt disagrees with me. He's going Bills. If I'm picking a team to root for, I would want the Bills to beat the Rams, but
yeah,
I think it's a tough trip.
It's a risky guarantee right out of the gate. I'll give you that.
Yeah, no, I like playing fast and loose. Fast and loose sometimes. The Team Chaos is our Texans and the Jags.
Yes.
There you go. So what's next week? It's the same. Now it's like we're in it. We're gonna get into the routine. We'll return with our game of the week, our blowout of the week, our Team Chaos of the week. We'll go over any other games that we found interesting. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot that we want to say. We'll probably talk about what we got horrifically wrong this week when it all kind of comes down to it, and what maybe some new storylines that are gonna come out of all of the action. And of course, we'll pick our next games for week 2. But yes, we're back, and nothing's gonna stop us. All right, you hear that? Fucking
nothing's ever gonna take us down.
Yeah, I was gonna try to come up with like a person that would have a vendetta against us.
Fuck you, Brett.
Yeah, fuck you, Brett. You're not gonna stop us, Brett. Anyways, thank you.
Is your name Brett or Brent? No one cares, Brent.
Brent. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Good night and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.